Here in Marrakesh, we will have the first meeting of the parties to the Paris Agreement. In these 2 days, in this pre-COP, we discussed means of implementation. This is one very big issue because developing countries need to get support in order to be able to comply with the commitments they have made under the Paris Agreement. In that discussion, what was really very new was the fact that the donor community, the developed countries, presented a roadmap to the 100 billion that they have committed to give to support developing countries up to 2020. And the very good news is that they reported that they are really in a good way towards achieving that goal. These are projections, but these are conservative projections, so I think that's an element that gave a very positive atmosphere in the discussions. We also had a conversation about the preparations for the first meeting of the parties to the Paris Agreement that will take place here in Marrakesh during the time of the COP22. And there was, before this meeting, there was certain expectation and some doubts about how it would be handled. So we managed to get an understanding on the consultation process that will be led by Morocco as the incoming president of COP22, and that will run from now until the moment that actually the CMA, which is the short name for the meeting of the parties to the Paris Agreement, will start on the 15th of November.
Well, the discussions today or yesterday, or the 2 days. As you know, yesterday it was we worked on the implementation, on the entry into force of the Paris Agreement, which is something very unexpected because everybody was expecting a 2020 entry into force. Well, we have now, it's 2016, so COP22 will be the first COP where Paris Agreement will be into force. So we talked about the first CMA, how we're going to manage that. The second session was about means of implementation, so finance, capacity building, etc., etc. The capacity building, how we're going to implement the Paris Agreement, how we're going to implement the NDC's national determined contributions. And the third session was this morning about action agenda, which means everything that is done by the non-state actors.